So this is what you can see on Canvas as far as in the module for how to build your IFAK, your Individualized First Aid Kit. We're going to talk about this. Some of this stuff is going to be, you're going to consider it overkill, which is fine. But some of this stuff you may want to consider and then decide later on, you know, as your life changes, that you do want some of these things. What you do have up here, I've made a few videos. Ammo can, medical supply. This it's a little older as far as the video from when I made it for a previous class. But anyway, it kind of goes over just so that you'll have it later, and we'll kind of talk about this stuff up here. There are a couple of other YouTube videos. There's a course called Stop the Bleed that kind of talks about how and why you would use a tourniquet in those scenarios. We're going to look at a couple different types of tourniquets, one called a cat, one called a rat. Basically, the rat one is this relatively easy to apply. Definitely if you've got a person to help you, but it's still, you can apply this with one hand. Yeah, it is one hand, one arm, if you had to apply it to yourself. This black one that has what's called a turnless, windlass. This is the cat one that we'll talk about. So then we may do a what's in the past been called an Israeli bandage application, because probably and hopefully you won't have to apply a tourniquet on yourself, but you might. But then there are some other instances in which you might want to try one of these pressure, basically an Israeli bandage is a type of pressure bandage. So let's look at if you want to get into this pretty deep, again, you can, the prepare.com has a really good article, even though it's about 6 years old, in terms of things that you might want to keep around the house. And there's a big long laundry list down there toward the bottom. It's pretty daggone good. So the nice thing about these two videos that we're going to look at, they are very short and pretty daggum simple.
This is the CAT Gen 7 Combat Application Tourniquet. The CAT has been used by the U.S. military since 2005, and it has helped save countless lives. It's designed for easy self-application, but it can also work well in a buddy aid situation. I'm going to show you the proper way to apply the CAT to a leg wound. Let's say my buddy has a leg wound right here. You want the CAT to sit 2 to 3 inches above the injury. For most people, that's about 3 finger widths. So you want the CAT to go about here. Ideally, the CAT should be applied directly to bare skin. You can apply the CAT temporarily over clothing, making sure there are no solid objects in the way. Undo the CAT, then wrap it around the injured leg. When it's in the right spot, pull the band tight. Then secure it back around itself, but not over the rod clips. The CAT is tight enough when you're unable to fit 3 fingers underneath it. If it's too loose, pull the band open, tighten it, refasten it, and recheck its tightness. Now twist the rod. Your goal is to get the CAT tight enough to stop the bleeding. Lock the rod into place and check for bleeding and a distal pulse. If there's still bleeding or a distal pulse, you can tighten the CAT with the rod, or even consider applying a second CAT right above the first. Once the bleeding has stopped and you can no longer feel a distal pulse, the CAT is properly tightened. Now you can route the band between the clips and over the rod if there's any remaining slack. Secure the band with the time strap and record the time of application on the time strap. That's all there is to applying the CAT Gen 7 to your buddy's leg. Quick, simple, and it could save their life.
Now, the point of Well, let me ask you this, why would you want to write down the time?
So I know how long it's been, you get them somewhere.
Yeah, when you get, hopefully get them to the emergency room where the ambulance gets there or whatever, and they know that, okay, that's been applied. This portion of the limb has not had significant blood flow for 15, 20 minutes or an hour or whatever. Used to, well, first I should probably say, I'm not a medical professional. We're a doctor, an EMT, and I have very limited medical training. But most of the time, you would want to apply these in some situations in which, almost like a Good Samaritan situation possibly, or again, you hurt yourself, and you decide that, hey, I need this because I don't want to die. So, that's the cat. The rat is even simpler.
This is how you properly apply the rat's tourniquet. Time is of the essence. So tourniquet first, then call 911. Because if you're dead, you can't make that call anyway. You're gonna take your tail and run it through that loop from the factory to make a big loop. That large loop is gonna go over the leg or arm. You have to pull against the material on that 3-finger loop. And I'm stretching it. I'm putting a lot of pressure to stretch this vulcanized material. And as I wrap, I put the wraps parallel to one another. I'm basically stacking them 1, 2, 3 going down. This is the part that tucks into the cleat. There's no twisting involved with this style of tourniquet. I'm not gonna twist this cleat or anything else. The stretch of the material itself and getting it all nice and tight, that's what creates that occlusive pressure, not twisting anything. That's a different style of tourniquet. And that is how you apply the rat's tourniquet. This is how you...
So super straightforward. If you can, it usually comes already with attached on one side and passes through, so you've already got the loop. And all you gotta do is then take that, wrap it around again, figure out where the wound is, give yourself 2 or 3 inches. And again, if it's right on, let's say near the elbow or something, you may need to go a significant distance or some distance above that. What could you use if you didn't have one of these?
Belt.
Do what?
Belt.
Maybe a belt. That might be hard though, since that might not be stretching. What else might be stretching? Do it? Maybe. But again, we've got to pull this hard enough to shut off blood from wherever it's leaking from. You can use shoelace. It might not be long enough. The other thing might be bungee cords. You got some bungee cords.
Who carries those around?
Do what?
Who carries those around?
I do. Yeah, you got some in my truck, yeah. Maybe not everybody does, but if you don't have one of these around, then you can do that. So, let's do this. I have 2 rats and I have 2 cats. 2 rats and 2 cats, huh? So, why don't y'all pair up and let's pretend we've got an arm wound above, right around the elbow. Let's go 2 to 3 inches above, and then I want you to wrap that around your partner. There you go, come on up. You can do this one and then switch it up and do a cat. Don't be shy. Bless you. And the honest answer is this should be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't have to do it all the way up on bare skin. And so you got it back, where's it in? So then you wanna tighten it in there. That's the cleat. So if he's still bleeding, then of course you gotta undo it and then crank it around, or if you had another one, then you can do another one.
Something not out, I guess you didn't do it right, you lost too much blood.
Alright, why don't you try that one on him?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
out there.
Maybe more.
Yeah, for right now. You wanna twist that.
Well, we know how it works.
Yeah, I don't know how the
Yeah.
injury happened.
Yeah.
Stuff happens.
You think that's it? Let's see.
You saw that sign, you should have done it than me.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay,
We all
and
make
if you
mistakes.
had stopped bleeding, then
No.
great. And the other thing is, you can check to see if you have a pulse. If you don't have a
It's
pulse,
okay.
that's good too.
Well, I don't know.
In this case.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay, hopefully
Really?
it'll just be a minor
Yeah, no, you
irritation.
don't think there's no pulse? Hopefully. Oh, yeah, nicely comfortable.
Yep,
weird.
and congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
So you would do that on around,
Hopefully.
and then, you do that.
You just move it a little bit, and then start spurting out.
It was this
Well,
way.
Yeah, 'cause there's a lot of extra.
You saw the sign and then you still did what you were supposed to do. I figured we were just doing what we were not supposed to do.
All right, why don't you guys switch off with Angus and,
Now you're testing.
yeah.
Can be.
Y'all switch off, and then somebody else try that one. That one works best if you'll start it up a little bit higher, and then go back to low on that one.
Two of them.
Yeah.
That's gonna be great.
Wait, how to do this one again?
Just that's it, yeah, and then put your arm through there.
I was working,
Tighten it?
Yeah.
cardboard compactor, and I
Yeah, and then
saw
just
the
lift it
sign, so
over and over.
putting out the arms in there.
Closer.
I don't know, I'll try that cardboard to seal a little further in there, and I
Oh
don't
my
know.
goodness.
Double turn.
No, it's fine like that. Yeah.
Pretty tight.
You got a pulse? Feels like. How does it lock?
Wrap.
It goes
A
into,
little bit.
this needs to, it can go up here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm not supposed to blood.
And then, obviously, if he had been shot, we would want to use some of the scissors to get off his.
I'm turning it.
It got it on this side, now I'm bleeding out on this side.
All the blood to switch
All over the
directions.
place.
Yeah, I think probably what I did probably in the beginning, let's, tighten this booger up.
See why they call it
So,
the
yeah, now do this down, this way.
Oh.
Oh, I see,
Yeah.
then you put this end over.
There we go. Now tighten that booger up.
Fill it in the scratch.
As long as you get the idea down, 'cause I'm
Yeah,
not.
lock that down.
Right there.
That was my real bad in this one.
And you can just
Just
do that
a
over,
little.
Yeah.
and, then lock it.
I move my arm, and I feel my arm.
Check your pulse. It's weird, dude. Check your pulse.
He's like, does he have a pulse?
If it's there, it's super weak. All right,
That
let's let it
hurts,
loose.
you need to.
Yeah, it is uncomfortable, and it will be uncomfortable. Now, you had one of these-
I think you'll be more worried about the arm that's not there or something.
Let's put this one on, Chris here. You try, yeah, you try the load.
We're gonna get you tourniqueted up. Thank you. I'm
Sure, sure.
there. I don't know what happened. I just had much more fun, I suppose. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna make it through this, I hope.
There you go. Go one more.
There she goes. I don't know if it's gonna wanna go one more. There we go. I'll get that one.
He says, as much as I enjoy that sensation.
Okay. Yeah.
Check your pulse. Whatever pulse that may be. I think it's good. I don't feel it.
Okay, well, and obviously, the big thing would be, did we stop the bleeding? That's been the most important thing.
I'm not seeing blood.
We might be.
Maybe you'll call the blood back down. All right. Okay, awesome. Good deal. So, tell me one scenario, why in the world would we ever, where would you ever have to apply one of these to yourself?
Get shot.
Get shot. I mean, if you get shot, that's only if you're in the bad part of town, right?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Hopefully that's the only.
Oh, okay, so if you're, let's say you don't go in the bad part of town, can you get shot anyway?
Yeah.
Some other way?
Yeah.
So how might you get shot?
Going out into the woods, it's not in the face, and somebody doesn't see.
Yeah, that does happen.
Accidental discharge.
Yes, that happens whether you're at hunting or at a gun range potentially.
It's New Year's and someone decided to just pop off a couple of rounds in the
That's
air.
a possibility too. Any other reasons why? Let's say, why else would you need the tourniquet if you don't, let's say, get hit by a bullet?
Get
Workplace
run over
accident.
by a train.
Okay, get run over by a train or a workplace accident, so. Now, I put up there minor boo-boos, that's not, we're not gonna need a tourniquet, that's the case. That's you cut yourself, when you're, carving into an avocado or a carrot, or you're cooking, or you're just not paying attention and you cut yourself out doing whatever. Maybe field dressing the deer in that case. How many people have ever worked on a farm or deal with farm equipment and stuff like that? Can that stuff mess you up? Oh, heck yes. Yes, it can rip off arms and do bad things for sure. I've personally been not intentionally been inside of a hay baler before, and that's kind of scary. Of course, it went on, it was unplugged, and tractor was off and everything else. But yeah, I mean there are lots and lots of farm accidents that occur. I think that's one of the most dangerous occupations considered that out there.
Grandfather's a farmer, his finger's like this, you know, got the half of his finger.
Yeah, construction. Construction also.
I didn't know how scary brain cells were until I saw a video about it.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure, now in that case,
It's
I'm
not,
not-
it's not like a bleeding wound because
Right.
you can suffocate.
that's pretty terrible as well. Do what?
It's like quicksand.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just go
basically.
if you fall into a brain cell.
Does anyone ever use a chainsaw around here? Okay, yeah.
For good reason, I don't know how.
Well, whether it's a chainsaw or some other mechanical tools and stuff like that, you can, skill saws, again, back to construction, you can, if you're tired and not paying attention, or there's just an accident, you can, have a bad day really quickly.
You don't even gotta be the chainsaw itself. I mean, if you got a piece of wood that's got a lot of pressure on it, and you cut it right down the middle, it's going to pop up and hit you.
You can do that too, yeah.
Have you taken any first aid courses?
A couple. And then I took that Stop the Bleed course, which is, again, available on YouTube. And when I took it, we just watched a couple YouTube videos, and then we had some kind of realistic appendages that were leaking red fluid, and which was interesting. And then we got to apply tourniquets to the red juice stopped. And so that was the first time I really applied one of those tightly enough, and then it's unpleasant. But most time, that's probably going to be the least of your worries. You're probably going to have some adrenaline kicking in and stuff like that, and it might not be bothering you too bad at that point.
I mean, it's the most important function is the guide time.
Right. Yeah. Right. And then I guess you said something to somebody. You were telling Chris that, hey, you're gonna be okay. We're gonna take care of you. It's gonna be okay. And that's kind of what you do. You want to reassure that other person, because the last thing you want them to do is to freak out, and then you not be able to apply assistance in that case. Unfortunately, the last thing up there we have to kind of talk about, whether it's at a school, at a church, at a store, concerts, or whatever, are these mass shooting events. And they happen a lot, unfortunately. And so not that you probably will have this with you, but sometimes people do. You may be somewhere where someone does have that with them, and then you can apply that if you need to yourself or to somebody else, potentially. So with all those things, you can get minor cuts and bumps. Again, something can be hurting, so some pain relief. You may want to keep some ibuprofen or Relieve around, especially let's say maybe you don't even get hurt, maybe you just have migraines. But yeah.
I don't remember if this was a myth or not. I'm pretty sure it was, but I know a lot of times people said if you get bit by a poisonous snake, one of the suggestions was to put a tourniquet on. Was that was a myth, right?
That is not suggested as
Okay.
far as I would know.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I just thought about that.
About as bad as an idea as trying to suck it out.
Yes,
Yeah.
and usually what they do is you'll kind of write the time and note the swelling. As let's say you got bitten on your hand as it moves up the appendage, and then again just call 911 and get those people there as soon as possible. Snakes, not my favorite.
Have you been bitten?
Do what?
Have you been bitten?
No, I'd probably fall out dead if I got bitten by a snake. I think, especially if it was big. Now I say that I'd probably be all right, but I wouldn't like it. I would not like that at all. So let's come up here and let's look at some of the stuff that I've got up here. I've got a bunch of small kits that I have picked up over the years, but what I want to talk about is this big box of goodies. So everything on this table came out of that ammo can. And well, actually that ammo can. And my wife, I had these, they were not painted at first, and she was like, you have all this stuff, and it's, you have all these bullets or whatever. And I'm like, no, I said, some of these are first aid. She's like, how am I supposed to know what's first aid? So I painted it white, threw a red X on it. So some of the things that are on here, you asked if I robbed or went, or not, maybe not robbed, but at least went to
Cleared out
Walgreens or something like that, cleared it out. So some of this I picked up from Walgreens, some of this I picked up, some of these types of things come from, you can get at Academy. Some of these things you can pick up at other stores that may be kind of atypical. So I always kind of pick up some gloves, can be handy. And some of this stuff is, again, I kind of picked up because if something really bad were to happen, my wife could sew me up. So I've got a suture kit. One of my really good friends is a surgeon. He would probably have his own, but I wanted, if he wasn't able to bring his own, I wanted him to be able to sew me up. So we've got a couple different types of gloves, as well as put up the surgeon kit later on. Got lots of different types of gauze. Some of this stuff is just like dirt cheap. Some of this stuff, of course, you can get classic Walmart brand type stuff. And one time I went to Walmart and I bought one of these. And then a few months later, I went to Walmart and I bought another one. And then I found during COVID these in the bags, and that was dirt cheap. I might say this is a little overkill, which yeah, I get it. But I then could use some of these to make little kits. I made a little kit for my daughter and her husband, and I made a kit for my son to carry in his car, and I made a kit for my wife to carry in her car. And again, she may not need this, but she might need this to help somebody else out. That can last. What else we got?
And if you're like hacking a wound, it takes a lot of gauze.
Yeah, it could potentially. Speaking of which, so let's say you think you get cut, but you don't necessarily need a tourniquet. So I don't know, has anyone ever used this stuff on a cut or anything like that? You have? Did it hurt?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. So this is kind of it's gauze that's kind of impregnated, it has some chemicals in it that when you apply it to you wouldn't want to use it on a baby cut, but like a serious cut. Major puncture, serious laceration, something like that. Again, I'm not gonna do it, but you open this up, apply that, and then you could use the gauze or the stuff that they typically use when they're having a blood drive or something like that. Wrap that around, and that's gonna kind of keep that from making a huge mess that you can get to the ER, and ambulance can get to you. But there, again, these come, I picked up a lot of these from Academy. Again, I carry something like this if I'm going hiking or something like that. I know people who have been climbing before and they've fallen and they've messed themselves up pretty good. My son jumped off the porch over a bush. He didn't clear the bush. The bush went in one side of his leg and punctured out the other side of his calf. It was a puncture wound about that long, about that diameter through his calf. It was pretty nasty. And if I had had one of these, I don't know if we would have needed this, but at the time, it was pretty messy. And so, I mean, just kids playing around doing, that wasn't even dumb, it's just jumping off a porch, and that happened. Pair of shears to clear the pathway so that you can put on a bandage or a tourniquet. I like cold packs. I had to actually dig into one of these. I can't remember what we needed a cold pack for, but we needed one of these not long ago. And didn't have any